The Pittsburgh Steelers just got a wave of good news before this Packers matchup. Comes at the perfect time. You get one of your playmakers back. Finally getting one of your biggest offensive weapons back as Calvin Austin III. We can all rejoice. He's officially cleared from his shoulder injury, and he's off the injury report without a designation coming into this Week 8 game against the Green Bay Packers. And also, later in this video, I've got hopeful news for a troubled O-line injury during the Bengals game last week. Good news on that, hopeful news. But first, let's get to the news on Austin. And as you guys know, a little housekeeping. He got injured in Dublin, right, against the Minnesota Vikings. He missed the following 2 games because of it. Returned to practice this week. And this is what head coach Mike Tomlin has described as aggressive rehabbing over this time. Fully able to participate each day of drills. No limitations. Calvin's ready to go. And the team heads into Sunday night against the Packers. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers is going to get the full complement of his weapons. This is going to be exactly how the team envisioned this offense coming into the season, like it or not. And this is just going to be a really good thing. You've seen Aaron Rodgers utilizing multiple tight ends with touchdown passes. Calvin Austin was becoming that dude before that injury. So good to see him back. And let's kind of talk about his impact on this offense a little bit. He's worked as the team's number 2 behind DK Metcalf before the injuries. He caught 10 passes for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. He scored in the season opener against the Jets, caught a game-winning touchdown, if you remember. That's on the road against New England the following week. Well, 2 weeks later in week 3, right? The Jets were week 1. And now with Austin back, everybody's here. It's a complete set. You've got Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth. Boy, I'm under the weather. I can't say his last name. Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward. All these guys have seen tons of targets from Rodgers. And then you have kind of Roman Wilson and Ben Skowronek kind of working behind them. They haven't been huge options. It's looking like Scotty Miller. He came on big time during the offseason, during camp. He's going to miss a game due to a finger injury. So now we're looking at Wilson, Skowronek, and Keshawn Williams at the bottom of the depth chart. And this move back onto the regular team roster for Calvin Austin, it is just coming at the perfect time. Williams was called up from the practice squad. That's a move corresponding with Scotty Miller not being ready for the game. And look at something, though. I think they'd be smart to limit Austin's special team reps in this game. Don't just pop him back there on punt returns. Keep him fresh. We don't want to risk him getting injured. Someone else can do that. And then you're looking at, even with Austin being back on the team, do the Steelers still have a wide receiver need before the trade deadline? I think you can still expect them to possibly add a receiver. And the usual suspects that are being tossed around, we're looking at Calvin Ridley from the Titans, the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle, and the Raiders, Jacoby Myers. I think Waddle is the least likely to become available, and Jacoby Myers is talking in the media that he wants to be traded, and the Raiders look like they're on a rebuild path. And who knows about the Titans, but maybe that's for this video. Maybe that's the guy that's the most intriguing here. I think he might come a little expensive. The Titans do have some money into him. I think the Titans are just absolute garbage as a team right now. They might be looking for a hard reset. And Calvin Ridley, I believe he's 30 years old. He might even be 31. And the Titans might be willing to eat some of the cash left on his contract to get him out of town. And the Steelers might be the perfect buyers for him. So I would love to see Calvin Ridley added to this team. I would even more like to see Jacoby Myers added to this team because he is just an ideal number 2 or number 3 receiver with strong hands, really high points the ball well. He's an end zone threat too. He'd be absolutely the perfect addition here. So let's get to the other piece of good news that I promised you, and that has to do with Pittsburgh Steelers starting center Zach Frazier. All through practice this week, he was looking a little iffy, not in full participation, but now it looks like he's trending in a positive direction heading into Green Bay. Looking at the second-year pass protector, like I said, limited in practice earlier in the week, didn't participate in one session at all. A lot of doubt casted on his Week 8 availability, but then he was once again a limited participant for the Steelers in their final practice before going into this game. Still a looming question, though, but it looks like all reports are that it's favorable for him to play. He's listed questionable on the injury report, and also questionable is linebacker Malik Harrison, quarterback Will Howard. Same as injury designations for all three players. Once again, Scotty Miller, he is out for the week's game with a finger injury. So he suffered a calf injury during Week 7. Against that game, we really don't want to talk about. That was not great. Let's just forget about that game. And he told reporters after the game that it occurred actually during the team's second drive. It's been sore to deal with, but he's saying that he's absolutely hopeful to be on the field against Green Bay. And it looks like the Steelers have been cautious. You're looking at veteran Ryan McCollum backing Frazier up. They were fine to give the 27-year-old extra snaps with the first unit during practice this week, so they are prepared. And after him being limited for multiple days, I'm talking about Frazier, the team is clearly trying to save his body during practice so he's fully ramped up and fresh for this game. But the great news out of all of this, you've got a full arsenal on offense now. That's so good to see. So good to see Calvin Austin back in the lineup. 2 games missed, full participant in practice all week once again. Clear sign of his return. And now with Frazier hopefully at center, with Austin back in the mix, the Steelers are basically going to have their full arsenal on offense, exactly how they plan to approach this season. Finally, everybody's healthy. And on top of that, the good news is that you've made it through all this nonsense with a 4-2 record. Still have the lead atop the AFC North. Excellent test for this Steelers offensive game plan and the execution thereof. Absolutely love it here. I want to add one more piece of good news, and this is just kind of a cool thing to add. I noticed this online, and just a really nice thing to hear. And I love it when legendary players on a given team get their due recognition. And the player I want to talk about is L.C. Greenwood. He's moved one step closer to an induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So Greenwood, he was among 34 players who advanced in voting by the Hall's Blue Ribbon panel, and that's the panel for senior inductees. All players who final season, this is the eligibility, if your final season was before 2000, you're considered by the senior committee for induction. And Greenwood, he's been in the conversation for a long time. There's going to be more rounds of voting to trim the list to 25 nominees, then down to 9, and then eventually to 3 finalists. And I think Greenwood has a really good shot at this. He's made it further this year than last year, eliminated and cut down from 60 to 31 last year. You're looking at an underdog from the start, a 10th round selection out of Arkansas Pine Bluff. He was a 2-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 78 career sacks, the most out of anyone on the Steel Curtain defensive line. I think he's due for recognition. And this was before sacks were being started, right? They're collected by the Pro Football Reference because they actually had to comb through old box scores, old film to accumulate sack statistics. This is really interesting. And it became an official stat in '83, but at the time he retired, Greenwood, he would have been the all-time franchise leader in sacks. And that says a lot coming from this franchise. He ended up retiring from the NFL in '81, and sadly enough, you guys know he died from kidney failure in 2013 at the young age of 67. 67 used to sound really old, but now at my age, it sounds pretty young. Let's pound the table for Greenwood to get inducted. I think it'd be a really sweet gesture for a man that really deserves it. And it's always cool to see one of your own get his due recognition. You guys, this couldn't be a huger game Sunday night. I'm going to be here with you in the meantime leading up to the game. Continue to come here for your daily Pittsburgh Steelers news and observations from a guy that's kind of from the outside, a non-fan view of your franchise. I'll see you guys soon and enjoy the game Sunday.